welcome to River's Edge Today. I'm Dr. David J. Rogers, and today I have an awesome guest with us, someone I've known for quite a while, being here in Montgomery, Vi Moon. God bless you, brother. It's good to be here, that you're here with us today.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here with you, brother.
Now, Vi, I have known you, as part of River's Edge Church going back to 2017.
Yeah,
In fact, we used to work the soundboard together.
yeah.
And you were very engaged in our youth. You were very engaged in outreaches. You were very engaged in a lot of different things. But just tell us who Vi Moon is, and we'll get over into, people might notice your T-shirt,
You're right.
and we want to talk about that a little bit. But we want to talk about who you are and what God's done in your life to take you from where you were to where you are.
Sure. Yeah, I was born and raised half of my childhood in Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff to be specifically. So, single mom. My mom with my grandmother and my aunt, and a host of uncles pretty much raised me. So I was raised by that community. But I'm my mom's only child, and she was a bit protective, being a loving mother that she is. But one thing she instilled in me was a trust in Jesus. Um, in my early years, I went to Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. That's Pastor Dr. Tony Evans in Dallas, Texas. And not only myself, but I think my mom and my grandmother, my aunt, we all kind of got, I guess you could call it like almost a crash course in the things of the kingdom, and he was able to unpack things in ways that we weren't privy to before. But on my father's side, there's ministers over there, my biological father. I mean, my uncle was a pastor. My dad never got into it, but on my biological father's side, ministry is all over the place over there. So I guess it kind of ran through the blood somehow. And but yeah, man, got acclimated to faith at an early age, but still surrounded by, the things that you will find in a middle to low class neighborhood, with my mom being single and doing the best that she could. I mean, you would see gangs, at this time, we're talking about the early 90s. So, the gangs from California, particularly the African American gangs, your Crips and your Bloods, had kind of transitioned into the southeast a bit, or southwest rather. And so you would see gang activity, you'll see different things like that. So and hip hop was a big part of that. So I was enamored by that as well, and also having that foundation of faith. So I eventually moved to Alabama, where our family on my mom's side is rooted. A small town called Kellyton, Alabama. Went to schools in Ellick City, high schools, came to Montgomery for ASU. And that's where I started to kind of find myself and make mistakes and really find Jesus for myself, and found my family. Found my family here in Montgomery, met my wife, and we have 4 beautiful kids now. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So going from being a graduate of ASU and your partnership in the church, and then the outreach, what has driven you from there? I mean, you launched, I was here when you launched an album, and then that caused you to go on tour. So just tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing ministry-wise within, how you've transitioned from normal work
Yeah.
into ministry work.
Yeah. Great question. Hopefully I won't give a long-winded answer. To be honest with you, intimacy with Jesus. I mean, that birthed my family. And I mean, literally, it was literally me hearing from Jesus in my heart during the time when, me and my wife, before she was my wife, we had a child, my oldest daughter, and we weren't yet married and just running around trying to figure things out, but wanting to get serious about my faith and taking my faith seriously. The more I took my faith seriously, the more intimate I became with Jesus, the more he began to show me my purpose. So as that intimacy grew with him, it was like, okay, you need to marry. And it was just about following Jesus. You know what's best, even though I don't feel like I'm ready, you know what's best. So fast forward, I'm working in radio. And the idea, even before me doing gospel rap, the idea, because I used to do secular rap as well, but the idea was get into radio and learn the game from the inside. And that will set the steps for me to eventually grow as an artist and a music producer and maybe have my own label. Well, that has happened, but Jesus had a plan. He wanted him to be the DNA of that. So the plan still happened as I'm working in radio. Then eventually got the call that RiversEdge Church, a church in town, was looking for a sound guy. I originally hooked up with RiversEdge Church as working sound. And things are kind of going. But during that time, that intimacy, as I'm spending that time with Jesus, as I'm following him and obeying him in my personal life and seeing the results of that, it started to show me, hey, I need to use my gift explicitly for him and not just preach Jesus, 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 but actually tell about that's my life. When I was rapping secularly, yes, I used some suggested language, but one thing I did always do is rap about my life. If I was in college, you was gonna hear that. If I was, in the streets doing things and selling drugs, you was gonna hear that to take care of my daughter. Now, if I'm going to church, if I'm excelling in my faith or if I'm struggling in my faith, you're gonna hear that, but you're also gonna hear that personal relationship. So it's about really doing the same thing, rapping about my life, but now my life has changed. Jesus has entered. So to transition as I'm at work, the closer I got with Jesus, the more he began to show me what he wanted from me. And it was just steps of obedience. It was just steps of obedience. Getting married, steps of obedience, doing little things. There was one time I felt the Lord tell me to give away my whole paycheck. And I said, this is crazy. I don't think this is God. Well, God, if it's you, my wife would be okay with it. She was okay with it. We took a step of obedience. At the time, we needed a brand new car. And it was 6 months that we needed a car. We gave that check away within a month. We got a new car. Like just seeing, and those, I got many examples like that, but just those little examples of obedience. So when it came time, it was time to step out and do ministry full time. It was just another step in the chain of obedience. And I've been in it 7 years now. It's been 7 years, but most of that time has been spent at his feet, making sure I'm doing it how you want it to be done. Because at the end of the day, I have a wife and I have 4 kids to take care of. So I can't be out here just chasing smoke, right?
Right.
It's got to be real. And you got to show me how to do this because I don't know how. So just that intimacy with him and being where he wants me to be has been the fabric of it, if you can put it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Praise God.
Yeah.
And I like how you've gone from in this transition of a faith walk and moved forward into what God has got you called and what you're doing now. Now, we're going to do another episode with you.
Okay.
You have to. So thank you for watching with us.